What's good, you guys? It's your girl Fallon Favors. Yes, back again for another episode of the Baby Mama Chronicles. Thank you so much for joining me once again. If this is your first time here, welcome to the BM gang. We're gonna go ahead and get into this video. Okay, y'all, so I'm gonna give y'all 5 tips on how to be the cool baby mama. Okay, what is the cool baby mama? So, well, we know what's not the cool baby mama, right? You're calling in people all the time. Every single time there's some kind of discrepancy between you and baby daddy, there's always an argument, there's always an issue, no common ground. You make it very difficult for the transactions to take place. Just a lot of bitterness, a lot of, we all know the script, right, of what the not so cool baby mama, prototype looks like. So these are going to be 5 tips that are going to allow you to inch closer towards having just not only a better rapport with your baby's father, but a better rapport with self, and just more self-respect in how it is you carry yourself and what you allow to permeate your existence and your being and the life that you're trying to set up for yourself. It takes more strength to be able to turn your notches down. You know what I'm saying? If somebody has triggered you or agitated you or, whatever the case may be, like, you always want to stay even keeled because you can't make sound decisions in a state of panic or, heightened emotion. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so tip number 1 on how to be the cool baby mama. Make it as easy as you can make it to see your child, okay? Whether that means partnering with your baby's father to coordinate travel, meaning if your baby daddy don't have no car, you knew he didn't have no car when you was messing around with him, you had this baby, but I digress. But let's say he just in a bad spot right now, he don't have transportation. You need to be willing, and you should be willing, right? Because you're thinking about your child's well-being and the relationship that you're trying to foster between your child and your child's father. So, if it means you hopping in your car and you having to take your child over to his house for the next month until he can kind of figure out his transportation situation, that's going to be a definite example of that, trying to make it easy. You know what I mean? There's no excuses. Or hopefully you trust your baby daddy enough. And it's so funny having these conversations because you assume that there is a level of trust that exists between a woman and a man, once they create a child. But I mean, I ain't green. So I already know that that's always not the case. But again, as I always say, right, being accountable, you do need to ask yourself, like, okay, well, why did I lay down and really procreate with a dude that I don't even trust? And I say that to say, if you need to open up your home for a little bit in order for the person to be able to see your child, then that shouldn't be a problem either. If you are disciplined enough and you understand yourself and your value enough to know, like, okay, when this person comes over here, when my baby daddy comes over here, there's no trickiness going on, it's no foul play, none of that, you know what I'm saying? Set up a nice little area for y'all in the living room or into their room or whatever, but you make it as easy as you can to facilitate the connecting and time being spent between your child and your child's father. So if it means flexibility with time, you know what I mean? We all, well, a lot of us are working women, a lot of us are on our grind, we're hustling, we're doing different things. So if it's a matter of maybe kind of rearranging your schedule some days in order to, make it so that your child is able to go with their father at a particular time or date or whatever, just being flexible, okay? Remaining flexible with the understanding that your child is the primary focus and concern. And just as if you would, rearrange your schedule for something that had to do with your child, whether it be a birthday party, a doctor's appointment, or something really important, treat it the same way when you're dealing with your baby daddy, because it's still about your child's development. It's your child's development that's at stake. It's your child's happiness and self-confidence, self-esteem, and, the way that they're going to kind of build those character blocks as they get older. It's going to start now. With the father, with the mother, with both, seeing the relationship between both, those things start now. And if you begin damaging and putting chinks in the armor of that, you're looking at an uphill battle. And then always, good communication, which you guys should have anyway, especially if you're doing like drop-offs and the child is, younger and is not with you and is with the child's father. You just want to make sure that you also have that good communication too. It makes a world of difference, and you would be surprised because women are supposed to be coined the gender that, do a little bit better with communication. We don't struggle as much as some of our counterparts. Not always the case though. Some of us ladies need to work on our communication, and the reason why it becomes ineffective a lot of times is because there's so much emotion infused in that communication. And some people mistake anger or don't associate anger with emotion, and anger is one of the most heightened and obvious emotions that one can access or tap into or visualize. So just understand too that when you are always angry and ranting and raving and all that, you know, it's really just an illustration that you're in your emotions. And of course, again, it does debilitate your ability to be able to communicate effectively. So just remember that. So tip number 2 on how to be the cool baby mama. Okay, trigger warning, I might put it right here. Trigger warning. Do not file child support on your baby daddy if you can help it. Okay, now again, y'all, we not green. We've been doing this BM thing a long time. You know, my daughter just turned 14. Like, I know what it is, and I know and it just in conversation with y'all, I do understand that sometimes it can be necessary. So I'm not talking about those dire, strained situations where the man is completely just off the grid, irresponsible, non-approachable, non-work-withable. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the general speaking, like he cool, he don't have no other kind of mental challenges or things going on like that, like where you can actually shop game and kind of figure out what are we going to do to make this thing work. A lot of you ladies, if you keep it real, a lot of you ladies do have your man, or excuse me, not your man, or it could be your man, but your baby, I hope it ain't your man on child support, but have your baby daddy on child support out of spite because you feel like, okay, well, dude, you gonna pay me, or you gonna, you know, it's not with the best of intention, and it's not that you've exhausted all of your resources, all of your best efforts to amicably, you know, settle the differences for the sake of the child. So I think that that's super important, and you cannot be the cool baby mama with them people in your baby daddy business. Like, it's very important for you all to realize that the more work withable, I keep saying that, it's not a word, but it's my word for today, right? If the more, you know, agreeable you can be, not just because you a punk and you laying down and it's just, you know, people gonna walk all over you, but for the sake of keeping the peace for your child's benefit. You know, if everybody is at a space of respect and a level of respect, it's going to be way easier to get your child the things that they need. Everybody is going to be way more inclined to make sure that the child has what it needs. So if you can avoid being on paperwork, get off the paperwork. You know, have a friend or a family member be that mediator if need be. Church counselors are also a good thing if you have a church that you belong to, any kind of other, you know, social group or anything like that. And again, you know, friends and family, use someone, you know, designate someone to be able to be that intermediary between you and the child's father, you know, and try to just handle it that way. You know what I mean? There's going to be a level of bitterness and resentment, I'm almost certain, for a lot of men having to walk that road with having to be able to see their child. You know, it's a very outer body experience that us as women typically don't have to deal with because we are the primary caregivers. So it can be somewhat demeaning to a lot of men, especially the men that want to be really good fathers and they are very committed to wanting to be in their child's life like full time, not just part time. Tip number 3 on how to be the cool baby mama. Do not air out y'all business on social media, okay? Y'all are, you know, unless I'm talking to some of my teen moms, which again, there's no judgment. Thank y'all for joining. I want y'all to get this game too. But if we're talking about women of a particular age, and I would say about 25 and up, you know, you grown, okay? Learn how to handle yourself with class and grace, all right? And so the biggest thing that a woman has to realize in her development is how to be able to differentiate, you know, emotion and logic. That's one side of the coin, but also, you know, when and where to exercise that emotion, because our emotions as women are superpowers. So we don't have to feel on the total opposite side of the spectrum either, where it's like I'm just going to completely stonewall and not release any of my emotion. No, my emotions are my power when they are used in the right instances at the right time. If you and your baby daddy just got into it, he was supposed to pick your son up at a certain time, he didn't, something came up, you know, you still have something in the back of your mind where you have a little bit of resentment of how he treated y'all treated you when you was pregnant, or after y'all broke up and now you heard that he dating some new girl, or you might have saw some other girl on his Instagram story, or somebody else told you about it, so you already feeling a little salty or a little bit weird. Whatever triggers you emotionally, because we are all human beings and we all are susceptible to being triggered through our environment. That's why it's super important to protect your space. But let's say you got triggered and it couldn't be avoided. You are not now going to be super emotional and then go to the social medias and be typing and sub-dissing and doing all of that. And grow up, baby. You have to grow up. And it's up to you. You don't have to do anything. I'm saying that you have to grow up. You don't have to do anything. If you would like to see different results, if you would like to be regarded on a different level, if you would like to be respected in a certain way, these are some of the steps that you can take. And what's not gonna get you there is being petty on social media, because that's what kids do, you know. And if it's something in relation to your child, you should want to keep those types of things under wraps, because now you're also exposing the business of your not unborn child, but in some cases unborn, but your children. You're putting them on Front Street, and they may not want to be on Front Street when they get older or whatever, be able to see that mama called daddy old black ass, you know, that. Nip it in the bud. Have control over your emotions. Call a friend, call a family member. Y'all see why friends and family are so important, right? You need allies. You need people around you that support you and that love you, that can keep you in checks, you know, in check and in balance and on code. Tip number 4 on how to be the cool baby mama. Don't hate on his love life, sis, okay? Don't hate on his love life. Now, I know, ladies, okay? I love y'all. I know that there are a whole bunch of reasons why, you know, a baby mama, baby daddy situation do not work. I totally understand. And I understand too, I don't want y'all to get it twisted to feel like I'm always coming to the defense of baby daddies. I'm not, but because I want us to heal, I understand that the path through that is going to be accountability. So I spend a lot of time on that side of the coin, but it doesn't mean that I don't see the faults of men and baby daddies in these baby mama, baby daddy situations. So I do know that a lot of these baby daddies have done foul stuff. You know what I mean? While you were pregnant, before you were pregnant, after you were pregnant, you know, they're new fathers. They really may not know what they're doing. They may have let you down in a time where they were supposed to spot you or look out for something financially, when they were supposed to show up, you know, to be a presence for the child at a special occasion or a special moment. Like, I understand that they don't always get it right? So I understand that, you know, and so that could definitely build up some levels of resentment to where you don't care about his personal life. You don't care about nothing that have to do with him because you feel like he needs to get his stuff together. Granted, okay? Noted. I got it. You do not own anybody. We don't own anybody. This possessory, and I got to tell myself that because I'm that girl, you know. But that possessive nature, it's not healthy overall, right? And we can't, and it's kind of almost like a figment of our imaginations. We're lying to ourselves in a sense, because we can't control anyone. We have to make sure that we're honoring those universal laws. We cannot control anybody's path and what anybody does. And so if your baby daddy feels like he's at a place in his life where he wants to start dating other women and potentially bringing other women in the lives of your child, you have no say-so over that, because you don't own your child. You don't own your baby daddy. You are a participant in the whole situation. You know what I mean? And so many of you abuse your power. It's going to be to your detriment. That goes without saying. I say it in almost every video. That's very dangerous. Be very, very careful doing that. But you don't own him, sis. So if he wants to go out and he feels like he's at that place where that's what he wants to do, you need to wish him well and let it go. And if you feel some type of way based off of past things that may have taken place, things that may have hurt you, things that you know that he was in the wrong, that maybe he has not been culpable or accountable for as of yet, you need to deal with that on your own time, and understand that being a grown woman, a lot of that entails dealing with your own stuff. You cannot push it on somebody else if you feel like, even if you feel like that person did you wrong, you can't push on them the resolution of those issues. You understand what I'm saying? You need to be able to own your own stuff and handle your own things without putting that off on somebody else. And so let him do him. Your main focus should be that that man shows up as much as he can, financially, spiritually, mentally, all of the leads. You know, you need to make sure that that's the priority. And you never know that, you know, a lot of times we don't really want to think about somebody that we love with somebody else. That's just life, male or female. But, you know, think about how it may assist your child to have your baby's father be happy, to actually have him with somebody that lights him up, that makes him feel good, that gives him confidence, that, you know, makes him a better parent, a better person. Like, you know, that could be a benefit to you and your child. As long as you're keeping your child as the focal point, it's also the telltale sign that you are ascending into womanhood, when you can, especially as a mother, when you can pull yourself out of your own selfish desires for the betterment of your child. Not to negate how you feel and what's important for you as an individual, because we can't do that either. Of course, we're talking about spectrum. We're not talking about all the way on that side of the spectrum, but wanting to make sure that your child's care, happiness, comfortability is paramount. Point blank, period. So that means, you know, don't be acting funny, you know, when it comes time for him to say, oh, I got a new girlfriend or whatever. And baby, a lot of these girlfriends don't even be lasting. Like, if he talking about he got a girlfriend, he got somebody, that let him enjoy himself, you know. She don't have to be a special woman. A lot of times men, you know, really don't like to be alone or by themselves. So a lot of them will jump around from situation to situation to kind of just, you know, feel that sense of love and womanly essence that we provide. So don't be tripped up by that, and don't allow your ego to get involved. Keep your child first with that. Be a boss, be player, keep it player. We got to do way better on keeping it player. It's not always easy, I understand, but it is possible. So last tip number 5 on how to be the cool baby mama. Acknowledge his efforts, ladies. This is so big. Acknowledge his efforts. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for assisting me with that the other day. Thank you for taking the time to speak with our child about this the other day. You know, I really think it helps. Thank you for, you know, that extra $300 that you dropped into the bank for me the other day to make sure that they could get a couple new pairs of shoes. Whatever the case is, make sure that you are remaining in a space of gratitude, and not only with your baby daddy, but just in life. You will attract so much more in your realm if you are present enough to appreciate the things that are being gifted to you, gifted to your child. And, you know, don't take any of those things for granted. I promise this, you'll get so much further just making sure that you are saying thank you, saying please, you know, can you, just some of those formalities, and just, you know, making sure that you acknowledge the thing that your baby daddy is doing like that. And that's with anybody. These are universal laws, you guys. These are not things that are only applicable to these kind of situations. Showing gratitude in general with anybody is going to make them feel more valued, more respected, and it's going to encourage them to want to do even more. And you are setting up, you are creating the space in order for them to be able to thrive and do their best, which again, when your child's well-being is the paramount concern, it's easy to shuffle into, you know, make those things happen and come to the situations and people with the right energy. So please keep that in mind. That is definitely going to help you. Okay, you guys, so I just wanted to come with another quick little video. 5 tips on how to be the cool baby mama. Go ahead and drop it in the comments and let me know, do you feel like you fit this description? Do you feel like some of these things work? Is there a reason why you think that some of these things wouldn't work? Let me know in the comments. Y'all already know. I will talk back. Again, if you have not subscribed, make sure you're subscribing, liking, sharing, boosting this all the way up. If we got to take the long road and the long grind to get to where we need to go, then I'm super with that. Algorithm or not, we're going to make this happen, and we're going to make sure that this content gets out to the masses. So thank you so much again for joining me, and I will see you next video. Peace.